Peter Eliades with you again, Tuesday night, August 27th. As we told you towards the end of last week, we would be away for a couple of market days. We're back in the office now, and it's a good time actually to be looking at end of week projection charts, which I don't think we've done that yet. So it's a good time to be doing it because there's some potentially important information. We will not know, by the way, until the end of this week if these projections turn out to be accurate, because some of them were just barely given at the end of last Friday. But the one you're looking at now is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now this is the bar for the week ending last week, and this is the bar for the complete week this week. As you can see, and let me zoom in there and show you how indeed the median for the week last week was below these offset lines, or I should say this main offset line. That's the important one, and that thereby gave a projection. So this week, as I said, is not over yet, and there's always the possibility that prices get a dramatic move way up here. It would have to be a rather dramatic move, however, because the median of this bar would have to get above this area. In order to do that, the prices would have to go way up here somewhere, well above 27,000 on the Dow. And as you can see, we closed at 25,777.90 on Tuesday's close. So that's the Dow. Let's give you the projections on the Dow. The projections on the Dow call for 24,173.67 if you want the fraction, to 24,760.03. So that 24,760.03 implies at least a 1,000 point further decline in the Dow. Again, I emphasize these projections have not been confirmed, and they won't be until the end of this week. That much having been said, let's take a look at that same chart with the S&P. Here's our projection box down here. It looks pretty clear. This one was a lot closer at the end of last week as to whether the projection had indeed been confirmed at the end of the week. Here's the line. Here's the median point right here. And indeed, on a technical basis, it is below the offset line, so the projection was given. And again, as we take a look at the chart, you can see that we would have to get a fairly dramatic rally in the last 3 days of this week in order to overcome that. The projection on the S&P calls for, let's zoom in on here and make it a little more clear, 27. I can do a better job zooming than that. There we go. 27.1749 on the low side and 27.7394. So 27.73 would indeed be another almost 100 points to the downside, and 27.17 would be a lot more than that. Let's look at one more. The one that I like to look at most of all is the New York Composite Index, because that tends to be the most accurate projection giver over time. If we take a look at the New York Composite Index, we see basically the same thing there. Projections been given, and this was very clear. Take a look at the New York Composite Index. Again, we'll zoom in on that, and you can see this was last week, and that's very clearly below the offset line here. So that projection was very, very clearly given. They can always be invalidated by moving back above the line. So the rule is a projection remains in effect until it is either met, that would mean moving into this projection zone here, or invalidated, which would mean moving above the offset line again. Let's take a look at what these projections are on the New York Composite. Projections on the New York Composite are 11,720.63 to 11,999.63. So as you can see, at the close of last week, we had ourselves some very interesting downside projections. Again, it's not to say they can't be invalidated, but usually in a situation like this, we'll give the benefit of the doubt to these projections, and in fact, they remain very much in effect until either met or invalidated. That's it for now. Hopefully, we'll give you another update tomorrow, depending on how things go in the market.